Well, there comes a point in every dollhouse project where you've got to decide what you're going to put on the walls. Dollhouse wallpaper, putting it on, what to use, those are the questions I get a lot. So today I'm going to answer at least a few of those questions. Stay tuned and hear my thoughts. All right, in my old video, I talked about Yes Paste, which is still one of my favorite things to put wallpaper onto a dollhouse with, but it's getting really, really hard to find. I did see it online. It's really expensive online, and not very many places seem to carry it. I have tried several different dollhouse wallpaper glues, and the one that I have found I like the best is New Creations. Now, I get this from miniatures.com. I looked online. There's a lot of places that sell this. This tub seems to be anywhere from $5 to $10, which is not bad, and it lasts a long time. The thing that you want to look for in a wallpaper glue for a dollhouse is it needs to be really thick. See how it's a paste. I like this one because it goes on really smoothly, and any bubbles that show up when it's wet tend to shrink out completely for me. I haven't had any trouble. I really like this one. Things not to use. Don't use anything really thin, like Mod Podge would be a really bad choice because it's going to be really hard to work with. Also, this stuff does allow you to kind of move your wallpaper around a little bit. You got a little bit of fudge factor there. Stay away from full-size house wallpaper paste, although the paste that is made for wallpaper borders, this may kind of to use between a wallpaper border and a wallpaper surface, that works okay in the dollhouse, and I haven't had any issues with that. I've used that in a couple of structures and had good luck with it. But overall, right now, this is my very favorite, and it is available online. And it's not too expensive. Let's talk about types of paper. All right, for this section, we're going to assume that you want to have a wall in your dollhouse that looks like it's been wallpapered, as opposed to a wall that looks painted. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So you've got a lot of choices. I just grabbed some papers out of my craft room. You have actual dollhouse wallpaper, of which this is a sheet of. Generally, my experience, these are usually set in sets of 3 sheets, which I find an interesting number. But I suppose that way you are able to cover a lot of area. The designs are scaled for the scale that it's sold for. This is sold for 1/12 scale, so it's a design that will fit in there and not look too overpowering. Because, like, if you were to use this in your dollhouse, that would be really difficult on the eyes and be way out of scale. I just brought it because I wanted to talk about weight of paper here in a minute. The nice thing about these wallpapers that are made for the dollhouse is they come in very generous sheets. They're usually about 12 inches by 18, depending on the brand. I've seen them an inch or two either way for dimension, but they're usually about that size. And they're like a heavy scrapbook paper. They're usually a little bit, I find that they don't buckle too much from the liquid, especially if you use a gel type wallpaper paste. And they are set up in such a way that you can match your design. If you go across, you'll see that there are repeats in the design pretty regularly, depending on the sheet. And it makes matching at the corners much easier. And a lot of things like this I bought in a set, and it was all themed to go together. So you've got a continuity of color and style within these sheets that came in this one set. These are generally pretty easy to use. They're usually sturdy enough that you can put the paste on there, get them manipulated onto the wall, and they won't tear, they won't smear, they won't have the issues. when you start looking at cardstock, and I've used a lot of cardstock in dollhouses for wallpaper, because one of the disadvantages of dollhouse wallpaper, there's not very many places, companies that make it. So that limits us on the designs that we can get. And maybe you have a specific theme in mind that you can't find a wallpaper, dollhouse wallpaper that fits the theme. You're more apt to be able to find it in the scrapbooking paper or the cardstock, the crafting paper of your local craft store. But the weight of that can go anywhere from very thin, like about the same thickness as a sheet of printer paper, to a very thick cardstock. And those might be stocked next to each other on the shelf in the craft store, and you might find a sheet that you think is going to be perfect for your project and find out that it's either way thin and you're going to have trouble getting it on successfully. It can be done, but you have to be a lot more careful. Or it's going to be so thick that it's going to be hard to make sharp bends in the corners of your rooms. But it can be done. The other disadvantage to these papers, to a scrapbooking type paper, is they are not designed to be matched. So you're going to have trouble finding a match across the paper. So you have to be careful about the design you choose, a lot more careful than you would about the dollhouse wallpaper. So those are just some pros and cons of the two. Let's talk about solid colors. All right, in my dollhouse structures, I usually do most of my walls in a solid color because I like the look of a painted drywall rather than wallpaper. In real life and in dollhouses both, I prefer to have most of my walls be a solid, like painted drywall look, and just a few accents of wallpaper. One of my favorite ways to achieve this is this art paper, and I will have a link for this product in the blog post. I can't pronounce the name, nor can I remember what the name of this is off the top of my head. It comes in a big sheet, like 19 by 20 something, 19 by 25 maybe. So it's big, so you can get a lot out of it. And they're about, I want to say $3 or so a sheet. They come in solid colors, come in white and beige and cream and yellow. And online, I found a site one time that had like 50 colors. It's got just a slight texture. And in miniature, it looks like drywall because there's always that little bit of texture. It pulls that look off and makes it look really, really cool. This way you can have that look without, because you can't paint the walls of a dollhouse and have them look right. It's not going to turn out. The look is not going to look convincing. I love this stuff because it's heavy enough to use. It's designed for people that do colored pencils or chalks or charcoal, that kind of thing. So it's a good heavyweight paper. It's acid-free, so it's not going to shift in color over time. And it just works really well. I use it for ceilings also, and it works really well for that. And just the nice size sheet. So those are the papers. Let's talk about a couple of ways to set up putting your wallpaper in. All right, one of the questions I get asked the most, and I just made these really quick. I took like 5 minutes and put together some little mock-ups of rooms to kind of show what I'm talking about. There's two schools of thought when it comes to putting wallpaper in your dollhouse. What I do is I assemble the dollhouse first, and then I put the wallpaper in, I wrap a corner, and then I put a solid sheet meeting up to that corner. And that way the corner pretty much disappears. Even though I didn't match my design, there's really no indication that the paper changes other than the design's just slightly off, and you can match it. I just didn't bother for this. This is my preference. The other way of setting this up is to pre-wallpaper all your walls before you assemble your dollhouse, meaning you lay your board down and you decide, okay, this room is going to end here, so I'm going to put the wallpaper, say, for the bedroom up to this point, and then I'm going to put the wallpaper for the bathroom, maybe that's next to it, up to this point. And then you wallpaper all your walls. And then you put the house together and it's all pre-done. You don't have to work in those little tiny corners. And I see that. Usually, there's a couple of reasons why I don't do it that way. And I'm going to explain them here. This corner is wrapped. I wrap the wallpaper around one corner and then I put a piece up and I put it right up against that corner. So the wallpaper it's almost seamless. And if I would have bothered to even match my design, you wouldn't even have seen where that was. This one is done where I put the wallpaper on each piece and then I put this together. And there is really a definite line in that corner. And for me, when I look at a dollhouse that's been wallpapered that way, I immediately see that. There's this shadow where the two come together. You'll never have that seamless look at the in the corner. Also, if you're going to put any kind of tape wire for your electrical in, that you really need to put in after your dollhouse goes together, because you need to be able to wrap corners with that too. So, those are the two main ones. Then for me, because a lot of times when I assemble a dollhouse, I will get to the point where I'm assembling the dollhouse and I'll look at where the manufacturer says that this wall has to go. And I'll say, I don't want the wall there. I'm going to shift this wall over here. Or I get the dollhouse put together and I get to look at it and I say, I want the small room on this side and the big room on this side. Well, I haven't wallpapered it all, so I can do that. But had I wallpapered those sections, I'd be stuck putting those walls exactly where they went. And that may not be where I want them when I go to do my dollhouse. So those are just a few thoughts on wallpaper. I just wanted to do this quick wallpapering video, give you an idea of answers to some of the questions I get the most often lately. If you have more questions, be sure and post them either in the questions below this video or with the blog post or over on the Facebook page. If I get enough more questions, I'll do another video on it. If not, I'll try to get back to everybody and answer your specific questions. Thank you very much for watching today. Be sure and check the blog post for more information, and I'll try to, like I said, I'll try to put links in for some examples of each thing. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment, either questions or other things you have questions about. Ask other questions and I'll see what I can do about answering them. If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very, very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.